Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jared Rand, and welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Sunday, January 22, 2023, after 3 p.m. Eastern. How would you power yourself spiritually? You were born with wings. You are not meant for crawling, so don't. You have wings. Learn to use them and fly, Rumi. What do you think would happen to your life if you always responded to others from a place of trust, gentleness, and never out of fear? How do you think they would respond back? Probably the same or similar energy to you, right? So the question then becomes, how can we empower ourselves so that every response we have is radiating from this deeper, more enlightened space? How would we like this world to treat us this year? No matter what happens in our lives, always remember one thing. We are the masters of our reality. We are always sculpting our experience of this life with the thoughts we are choosing to think. Just like an artist sculpts a masterpiece out of a big hunk or chunk of stone, we are formulating our version of the world around us by our beliefs. We are formulating our version of the world around us by our beliefs. Our reality is based on how we define whatever we see, feel, and believe is in the outer world. You cannot heal the world until you heal yourself. A lot of people trying to heal the world when they haven't even healed themselves first. The thoughts we are choosing to entertain are creating our reality in every millisecond of our lives. We forget this. We forget it all the time. We forget to step back from the mind and see our thoughts objectively. We can retreat into the heart, which is our source of spiritual refuge, and step back from the opinionated, fear-based, over-controlling mind. This is the very first thing we will need to do to find our spiritual power and regain peace in our lives again. We already have the source of divinity inside of us, which is forming everything in our lives. We simply need to relax into it and be more aware of its presence. Just notice what types of thoughts do you think when you're resting in your presence. You naturally trust life, and everything that manifests is for your highest good. By focusing on this truth, we can instantly take back our power. The guru is always within you, Ramana Maharishi. We're all gurus, because we're all gods in the body. There isn't anybody higher and more mightier than thou. That's all ego mind. You take time sometime today, watch your mind for 30 minutes. watch it. Don't judge it. Because see, sometimes you'll watch it and you're in it, so you're not watching it. Is your mind thinking about what you want or what you don't want? When you become acutely aware of where you are directing your mind's attention, you can shift your entire life in this spiritually empowered direction. We were all born with the innate ability to focus this mind in any direction we choose. We can decide to focus upon thoughts that give us strength, trust, and courage, or fear, lack, and separation. It's purely our choice. Purely our choice, no one else's. This simple awareness that the choice is always yours will empower, improve, and expand your experience of this life. Choose to use your mind instead of being used by it. Most people on this planet are used by their mind. They are used by their mind. Use your mind instead of being used by it. This means that we are living as awareness, conscious of what we're thinking is going to manifest into our futures next month. It may seem impossible to feel strong when all you feel is weak. It might seem super challenging to feel relaxed when all you see is lack, difficulty, and struggle around you. So my suggestion for everyone today is to decide to hold your minds on one positive quality you want. Decide to hold your mind on one positive quality that you want. Perhaps it's the sensation of tenderness, kindness, gentleness, or feeling abundant. Every time you subtract negative from your life, you make room for more positive. Every time you subtract negative from your life, you make room for more positive. You ever come across anybody in your life travel so far? You don't need to know them, but you get this sense, and before they even speak, you get this sense. And you feel, and when they start to talk, you know immediately that this isn't judgment. It's watching and viewing another, and that nothing you say is going to be uplifting for you. You say anything and they'll negate it. And there's some people on this planet that live that way. Now, if you just hold your mind in the most positive direction you can imagine for as long as you can, whether you can practice for 5 minutes or 55 minutes, give it your all. Just be ridiculously gentle with yourself, no matter how many times your mind wanders off in some random direction, and see how you feel by the end of the day. I am larger, better than I thought. I did not know I held so much goodness. All seems beautiful to me. Whoever denies me, it shall not trouble me. Whoever accepts me, he or she shall be deeply and eternally loved. Walt Whitman. If and when you cannot connect with any spiritual feeling inside you, then do this next exercise. Imagine the sun is shining above you, and the warm, healing rays of sunshine are touching your face, healing your heart, caressing your soul. Let in the love. Spiritual empowerment simply comes down to how peaceful we are. This is our real true power in the human realm. The person who cannot be easily shaken is the most powerful person in the room. So I invite you to do some real inner work on yourselves this year and ask yourselves these questions. What thoughts do I need to let go of to trust that this life is unfolding perfectly as it is? What thoughts do I need to let go of to trust that this life is unfolding perfectly as it is? What do I most need to say no to so that I can say yes to feeling empowered now? What do I most need to say no to so that I can say yes to feeling empowered right now? When I'm truly empowered, what does that sensation feel like in my body? When I am truly empowered, what does that sensation feel like in my body? How will my life look different after I am empowered? What will I see shift in my world? How will my life look different after I am empowered? And what will I see shift in my world? Now you can write out your answers, email them to a good friend who will hold you accountable. This will help give you strength inside and also give you direction in your life. If you want to transform your life, you must first be responsible for where you feel weak and powerless. What would happen on this planet if everyone were to believe in themselves and all that they are? Know that there is something inside that is greater than any obstacles. Christian D. Larson. Each of us must know what we need to let go of in order to make room for feeling powerful again. You spend as much time on this exercise as if your entire life depended on it. When you're clear about what you want, life gets a whole lot easier. This may be the most life-changing exercise of your life. We are being called to step up our vibrational frequencies and become more empowered human beings. We can create anything right now, as long as we're willing to do whatever it takes to get there. If we're half committed, we will simply get half-hearted results. We must choose to make it urgent that we are not going to live in fear another moment and be stuck in some fabricated reality in our minds that is not even true. Think of a sailboat. A sailboat to empowerment. Paradise is about to leave the harbor in the next 30 minutes. And if we're not ready to get on it, organized, packed, prepared to jump on that ship, we will simply be left on the dock, struggling with our same life circumstances. We cannot be a procrastinator. If and when we want to become empowered, the time is now. to strengthen and ignite our true selves. Do what you have to do resolutely with all of your heart. The traveler who hesitates only raises dust on the road. Buddha, the Enlightened One. If every day is an awakening, you will never grow old. You will just keep growing. If every day is an awakening, you will never grow old and you will just keep growing. There's different steps that you can choose to take or not. All of us, in some way, shape, or form, are looking for ways that we can take to become more spiritually empowered in our lives. Let go. This is a biggie. Let go of judging, criticizing, and blaming yourself and others. Let go of it. Let go of judging, criticizing, and blaming yourself and others. This is perhaps the greatest energy leak that human beings have. By judging others, finding fault with them or yourself, you are trashing your vibration and wasting your energy. Everyone is on their own enlightened path and is taken care of by divinity. We are all having the necessary life experience we need to reach our soul's highest spiritual power. It's vital what we own and use, that we own and use all the energy we have for love, gratitude, connection, and joy. Do not waste your precious energy on separating yourself from others, saying you are better or worse off than them. Everyone is a being of light that is deeply connected to divinity. Now, it may not appear like it in this world, for perhaps they signed up to play a fierce negative force to drive you deeper into the light. So don't be so hard on them or yourself for not seeing the bigger spiritual truth all the time. Notice where you are making an assumption, being critical of them yourself, and creating more separation than unity. Choose always to forgive, forget, and move on. Choose always to forgive, forget, and move on. We all need more support at this time. Some people need it more than we will ever need it in our entire lives. Compassion is one of the highest responses any of us can have. Compassion is one of the highest responses any of us can have. Taking the higher, lighter path will always bring out our most enlightened, empowered selves. The more acceptance, patience, and love we can send out into the world, the higher our level of consciousness can reach. Each time we radiate acceptance instead of judgment, we bring out the best in ourselves and this world. We literally shift the vibration of this planet when we hold more love, compassion, and peace in our hearts. We truly change this planet's energetic field when we change the field within ourselves. I do believe this planet's going to be a God planet paradise. That's it, right there. Take only inspired actions from the heart. Every time we take action from an inspired, spontaneous space, our heart expands. And we send out super positive energy into this world. This is what magnetizes more of what we desire in our lives. Adversely, every inspired action which we don't take makes it difficult to feel more alive and empowered. If and when an artist hesitates to paint something he or she is inspired to paint, there is a feeling of being lost, lacking creativity, feeling less confident. To create your life as a masterpiece, you must choose to never hold back. When you are deeply inspired to do something, never make this your golden rule. Never hold back when you are deeply inspired to do something. Never. By consistently taking inspired actions, we will create tremendous energy, inspiration, and joy all around us. We will always have the choice whether we do what our body and mind are here to do or not. We can actively create the world that we want to live in, or just be a dreamer in it. We can actively create the world we want to live in, or just be a dreamer in it. The choice is ours. To wake up to a world tomorrow morning that makes you smile, laugh, and open your heart with joy to the divine being you truly are. Embrace whatever you cannot face. You know, a lot of people, they have acquired baggage, or whatever you want to say, emotions and feelings and responses that they bury. There's no way they'll embrace it, they hide it. Embrace whatever you cannot face. The reason anyone feels spiritually lost, financially disempowered, or emotionally wounded is that they are avoiding a feeling. There is some whirlpool of energy they are avoiding in the body and distracted by their phone, desires in their minds, a past memory, or some future dream. The mind always lives in judgment. Remember that. Your mind always lives in judgment. It only sees something is good or bad. It rarely finds the good within the bad or the effortless within the struggle. When we stop to face something directly, the yin within the yang naturally reveals itself. Each life experience always contains both. When we are patient, open, and curious enough to see both sides of the coin. Ask yourself, what are you still avoiding? Whatever you think it is, it's not what it appears to be. Maybe you're avoiding a certain person, a difficult conversation with your partner, or a financial burden. Whatever it is, the gift will come after you're able to accept it and welcome it. We are missing a great opportunity to grow by not embracing every experience as a doorway to the divinity, to the God that you are in that body. Every experience we have is there for a reason. You know, sometimes you're in conversation with somebody and they're talking to you about what they've experienced. This, why did this happen to me? And then your response is you ever thought about the fact that you manifested it, that you created it? Not saying that you consciously did it, you could have unconsciously done it. You get in a car accident, you chose to drive at that time, in that place, to where you were going, to that road, period. And you got in a car accident. You ever thought about the times you've ran out of gas? Most of us don't, but there's occasion where things happen and you run out of gas. You're out in the middle of nowhere. Have you ever thought that maybe, the God within you created that, manifested that, to get you to slow down? Slow your life down. Every experience we have is there for a reason, no matter if your ego mind is in charge, because then it'll sit there and it'll say, well, you got a dark cloud, or, this is the way life is. All moments in this life are here to awaken us to the deepest resource of our being. That magical space where your true infinite spiritual nature resides, where true infinite natural nature resides, spiritual nature resides. It is not about getting what your ego wants. When you can observe that which you don't want to look at with eyes of acceptance, that thing literally transforms within you instantly. When you shed light into the darkness, you see that there was never anything to fear. You ever done that? You ever heard something, middle of the night, woke you up, you're kind of startled, heart's racing a little, and you hear it again, and then you get a little frightened, right? And so you grab your flashlight, and you turn it on, and you start looking around. And then you find out that it was a metal pot shifting in the cupboard. And then you have a sigh of relief. Isn't it interesting? But see, when you bury your head under the covers and you hear this noise, whatever it may be, you get more and more fearful. You ever notice that? You just sit under the covers and you want to wish it away. All moments in this life are here to awaken us to the deepest resources of our being. That magical space where our true infinite spiritual nature resides. It is not about getting what our ego wants. When we can observe that which we don't want to look at with eyes of acceptance, that thing literally transforms within us instantly. When we shed light into the darkness, we see that there was never anything to fear. The moment that we can be with that which we cannot be with, we step into a much bigger you and instantly feel empowered and unstoppable in our lives again. Contemplation often makes life miserable. We should act more, think less, stop watching ourselves live. Nicholas de Chamfort. To spiritually empower ourselves, we must choose to take massive action in a new direction. We must choose to do something we've never done before, to step into knowing that we are the creator of our reality. All of this is a constant absorption and understanding then in order for things to shift in higher vibrational frequency, you've got to do that first with you. Wishing for something to happen without your participation is like saying that you can go lift that truck up over there with one hand. So there's many things that we choose to do, second to second. You either feel or you think or feel. Often one of the most used terms on this planet are, what do you think about that? When you're writing a letter or you're texting or, and well, I think this. We use that term, I think. So many of us have this kind of a stigmatism towards using the words, I feel. I feel this, I feel that. Some people do. And what does that mean? You're feeling from the heart-mind. You're not thinking from the ego-mind. And when the heart-mind is in charge, you can direct the energy of thought into manifestation. But when it isn't, we are manifesting everything we don't care to have. You might say to yourself, well, my birthday's coming up and I have faith that someone's going to get me this, right? Unfortunately, you didn't go into detail and say what color you wanted, what design you wanted, period. So you got it, but it wasn't what you wanted. Exactly. Okay. It came in it was given to you. It was in a color you don't like, a design you didn't like, but it was what you were wanting, but you left out the details. So, but you don't think about it, right? You feel that, well, I didn't give all the details, so this is what I get. You can say you want a lot of money, but what's a lot of money, right? You say, I want a lot of money. So you get $100 that comes to you. And you go, that's not a lot of money. Oh, but it is, because you didn't tell the universe the rest of the details. We do that a lot. We assume. Now, if you say, I want $10 million, I want $50 million, I want $60 million, whatever it is, and I want it to come in this way, and I don't care to have illegal taxation on it, I don't care to have this, whatever you detail around it. And then you give it to the universe with total trust, faith, and confidence in yourself and the universe. And you walk on. But that little bugger, that ego mind, that little bugger comes in and it tries to trash it. Because then you start going, I wonder if it's actually going to happen. I wonder when it's going to happen. It's probably not going to happen. I spent that time doing that. And that's the ego mind. Doubt, fear, guilt of wealth, fear of being wealthy, right? Fear of receiving. Now, when anything, this is the transition of the people of planet Earth and higher frequency to new Earth. This is the transition. The transition is that when you give, you have no motivation to receive something in return. When you give through the heart. You have no motivation to get something out of it. That is old Earth, 3D frequency. And look what it's done to the planet and the civilization. What's in it for me? What can I get out of it? Okay? Instead of through the heart mind, I offer and give this freely and unencumbered. From my heart to your heart. From my God to your God. That's New Earth. That's 5D. 5 density, 5 dimension. It's all frequency. So as we continue to raise our frequencies, because no one's going to raise your frequency. Oh, maybe, maybe a little bit here and there, okay? But it goes right back. And by raising your vibrational frequency by choice through the heart mind, everything around you is going to shift and change. It's going to be attracted to that higher frequency. So it will itself increase its frequency. That's why when you decide to go through the heart mind, so you master the ego mind, and the ego mind becomes a tool for a certain period of time until it's not needed anymore, and then it disperses. So when you do that, others vibrate with that. They're attracted to it. They're attracted to that frequency, that energy that you have decided to give out. So, people show up out of the woodwork and you interact with them and they enjoy your company. And this is how the God planet paradise is being formed. As a people, we will have no want. In other words, we won't have greed, right? We won't have this incessant urge to be dishonest, manipulate, steal, pillage, all of these things that have taken place on this planet to date. We won't have we will have the energies to protect everyone, to protect them, their physical bodies, right? We know that the gods that we are don't need protecting. We're always protected, omnipotently powerful, eternal, and we never die. So we protect everyone on the planet. We protect them. We don't take from them, steal, lie, deceive, manipulate. That's all ego mind. That's all greed. That's what that is. And it's up to us. Is it a burden? No, it's not a burden. It's our natural state of being. But we've been so ensconced in the opposite of who we are. Right? Rather than in, we go out. Rather than through the heart, it's through the ego mind. You could literally be in squalor. You could be nowhere. You could be of different things that you've manifested that got you there. And then you start to discover, say, well, I created this. Okay? But not in an angrily way. Not like you're coming down on yourself, beating yourself up, calling yourself names. You're very gentle, kind, and loving, humble, and generous with yourself. Just say, well, I've manifested this. This is where I'm at. I'm standing out in the middle of nowhere with just clothes on my back. So, why don't I begin manifesting from my heart, mind, and what I truly desire? It's all about our attitude. It's an attitude of gratitude or an attitude of the opposite. You have this attitude that life treats you roughly and wrongly, that you've always had this struggle in life, that you've always been handed the rear end of life. And every single belief that you have, you manifest. Every single one. Oh, isn't there things that are thrown in there? No, you manifest it all. The life that you currently are experiencing, you manifested. Not a bad thing either. You just say, wow, I have really manifested some interesting things. Why would I manifest this? Why would I bring this into my life? And then you start embracing these things and then letting them go. Many of us carry them like, well, I'm sure all of you have had the situation where most of you had, where you're dragging bags along on a trip and you get really burned out, tired, driving, and you get in a hotel room and you sleep, but you don't sleep well. And then you get up and then you get to your destination and you're going, oh, and then the destination adds stress to you and you become more stressful. And then by the time it's all said and done, you get home and you feel like you got to sleep for a week to recover from, you're recovering from your rest and recuperation. How many of us we're just doing our thing, right? And we say, I'm going to take a walk. I take a walk, be with myself, be with my surroundings, not judge anything, watch, observe. Ego mind comes in, says, oh, it's too cold out there, you don't want to get out there. I'm serious. You guys have had that, right? You get an initial feeling, right, and you say, I'm just going to take just a short walk, maybe at the end of the block and back, but and maybe longer depending on how I feel. No, I'm going to look at the things around me. I'm going to look at how I value my life. And I'm going to look at things that I desire to have in my life. The ego mind comes in and says, oh, it's too cold out there, you don't want to do that. You might slip and fall in places where there's snow. And then we're places where, like Florida or the other climates on the planet, and you go, I'll take a walk along the beach. Well, the wind's too strong. Or you bring in, and these negatives come in. And then you end up talking yourself out of it. Imagine that all of us begin to transcend into the knowing that we are God in these bodies. Discovering that and embracing it through the heart mind. Then we begin to open up to ourselves and say, I can do anything, create anything, manifest anything I desire. And through the heart mind. Through the heart mind, there is no greed. There is no anger. There is no envy. None of that doesn't exist there. And through the heart mind, there is no ego mind. Through the breath, there is no ego mind. Through the now, there is no ego mind. The fun that we are, the joy that we are, the love that we are, the happiness that we are, the bliss that we are, is within us. And ironically, it's always been there. So we begin to open ourselves up to ourselves and realize just exactly who and what we are. You want a happy, joyous, wonderful, phenomenal life? Then you can manifest it. Really, truly. Universe will send you things. Now, there is, you'll have things coming to you, and maybe some will you'll go, no, I'm not going to do that. And then some will come along and you'll embrace it. Some people believe that the universe will lower its frequency down to them, right? That frequency stays that way forever. It's like picture a beam of light, and it is so multicolored that you can't tell what color it is because it's so brilliant and beautiful, and it's vibrating at just a spectacular frequency, and you're looking up at it, right? And you say, my frequency is too low to embrace that abundance that's always coming to me. And every one of us have it. Everything. So you say, well, I'm going to increase my vibrational frequency. First off, I'm going to constantly stay in a state of gratitude. Every day, I will say to myself or openly, I am deeply grateful for this very now moment I am in. I am deeply grateful for exactly the way things are in this very moment. And you'll feel the shift in your heart. You'll feel it. You don't expect it. You don't have a test. You'll know. And the more you do this, the more your frequency increases. And then you find yourself being bathed in this multicolored, brilliant light that the universe is sending you, which we call abundance. And so different situations, different opportunities, people coming into your life, all kinds of things start to happen. And some you just they pass you by, others you'll embrace. But it's constant. It's not like, oh, you only get one chance. You'll get thousands of chances to embrace the abundance that's coming to you eternally, because you've raised your frequency. And people will say, well, what if your frequency gets higher than that abundance coming to you? The abundance becomes more, is what happens. Because everything else, okay, in the physical world, if you apply ego mind to the physicality of this planet, your forward progression will be dead in its tracks forever. The transition for this civilization, whatever it's labeled, humanity, mankind, is spiritual. It is not physical. It was never physical, nor shall it ever be physical. It is spiritual. It is discovering the gods within these bodies and who we truly are, what we truly are. It is operating while in physical form from the heart mind, not the ego mind. The ego mind is there to challenge us to overcome it, not to be its servant. And unfortunately, many, and it depends how we've been programmed by other people's thoughts. It depends on how you view things. You imagine you have a child, you take the child, you begin talking with the child while the child is in the womb. You start explaining to the child that you are the God within that body. Even though the soul hasn't entered yet, you are the God within that body. And then when the child comes out, you continue speaking in a very soft, loving voice and touch. You are the God within that body. You are not that body. You are not your name. Now, people would say, well, that child doesn't know anything. No, because it's a pure soul. It isn't encumbered, right? But the God within it will absorb that understanding, and it will make that connection. This is how New Earth is unfolding. Children, and by us doing that for the children, it brings us more into the God we are. Many of the things that we witnessed on this planet to date have been manifested by us. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that we intentionally manifested it. We unconsciously manifested it. We are responsible. Every one of us are responsible for ourselves. By being responsible for ourselves, we choose to go within. We drop the ego mind in the physical material world, and we find out, we discover just how powerful of beings that we are. We all have the power to fly. We all have the power of intuition. We all have the connection to all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever beyond, and forever. We have the power. Every one of us do. And some people, because it's a physicality, right? So some people, some people have this and others don't. That's physicality. That's not spirituality. And spirituality, you begin to realize, is that, yes, I have all this power, but I don't really care to use it. I'll use it for certain things, for the betterment of myself and all of the gods on this planet that I am of. And it's what we're doing is spiritually empowering ourselves by choice, conscious choice. And we're taking massive action in a new direction. And we're doing things we've never done before, ever. Some are just coming out of the fog. Others are completely out of the fog. And some have just entered the fog. And the fog is the ego mind. Puts up this screen to keep us confused and fearful of the unknown. If you walked into a fog bank, picture yourself, and that fog bank is an unknown, right? Now, you don't know what's up ahead. You have no idea what's out there. You just know that you're in fog. You can't see anything. You go 360 degrees around you, and you can't see a thing. In fact, it's hard to even see your hand unless you bring it close up to you. Now, some of us would become agitated, fearful, stressed. What's out there? You can hear a noise and be startled. The unknown is something that we, as the gods that we are, will keep embracing more and more. In this physical form, we will keep embracing more and more of it. And then what will happen? You will no longer, when you walk into the fog, you will no longer be fearful, agitated, stressed, anxiety, worry. You won't feel that. You'll feel energized. You'll feel excited. You will embrace the fog because you have learned that that's where all the opportunities are, in the fog. I'll join you in meditation. I'll return to close us out. Take an easy, slow breath in through the nose, and an easy and slow breath out of the mouth. Remain still. Know this: everything is divine. There are no accidents or coincidences in this world. Nothing is by chance. Everything we are experiencing is a direct manifestation of where our focusing of our energy, attention, and consciousness. The more we can relax into this deep love and stillness, the easier it becomes to manifest our dream. And yes, we can relax even deeper into the divine. So if you feel to understand, we are the saviors of planet Earth. We are the light. We are the love. We are the God. We are the divinity. We are the power of all creation. You kind of look at it from this perspective, through the heart-mind. Imagine a massive billions of angels, right? In etheric form, somehow a long time ago were tricked into entering physical form. And they have been trapped ever since. And now they're beginning to wake up. These divine God entities that are in these bodies, this is the guidance that we receive every day. This is the direction. You know, some people hear voices. This is the God within the body. Embrace it. And feel it. Take this with you for the rest of the day, into the evening and night and the following morning. We will return here Monday, January 23rd, 2022, 3 p.m. Eastern, to continue our global guided meditation call. Stay in gratitude. Embrace it. Love yourself. Stay within, or make the first step to go within. Be kind, gentle, generous, and humble with oneself. Always in gratitude.